Word Wednesdays. So, what are the topics that are up for discussion? It may be love, health, or career. We could discuss the struggle, your worth, or your fears. Word speaks about it all, and all are welcome to pull up a chair. I could care less about your age, race, gender, status, or geographical location. I am here to address these topics every other Wednesday. That's the word, and that's me. I know you all been waiting patiently to sit here with me and sip a cup of tea. The overall message is unity, world peace, and most importantly, LOVE. Welcome back to Word Wednesdays. You are here with me, Nina St. Cyr. I am the founder of Written Smith 101. If you would like to learn more about me and the services that I offer to the general public, please visit the website at www.writtensmith101.org. Today we will discuss the topic energy. We will discuss what it is, how it works, when it is transferred from one person to another, how to contain it, and spiritual vampires. So, what is energy? Energy is a meeting of the minds through a spiritual conversation. It can be spoken verbally or non-verbally. How does energy work? Energy is typically transferred through intimacy or commonality. When is it transferred? Intimacy and commonality. Let's talk more about that. The transfer of energy through intimacy is usually transferred through the act of sex, through a conversation, a hug, a kiss, or any kind of physical or mental aspect. The transferring of energy through commonality is transferred through the relation of experiences. Now let's talk about that further. When it concerns intimacy, I'm quite sure you should know that the act of engaging in sex transfers energy from one person to another. This is why it is not spiritually correct for you to engage in sexual activities with a number of people, because whatever that person's energy is, you will basically cling to that energy, and you will wonder why your emotions have changed, your behavior has changed, and you feel like you are actually not you, as if you are someone else. The reason why you feel distant from yourself is because you are taking on another person's energy. The same is true when it pertains to having a conversation. Depending on the tone of the conversation, you can take on a negative or positive energy, depending on the tone of the conversation, whether it is negative or positive. Notice when you have a conversation with someone and most of the details of the conversation are negative, you tend to walk away with a negative feeling or a negative mindset. And most of the time, you don't even know where this feeling is coming from. But if you think back you can think back to a conversation you had not too long ago, and someone just basically unleashed everything that they had within inside them and just dropped it on you. Now you carry that person's burden. The same is true for a positive conversation. You have a positive conversation with someone, you tend to feel happy or at ease. So you have to be very careful to whom you have a conversation with, because you mustn't converse with everyone you speak to, because you don't know where their energy is, whether negative or positive. So each time that you come in contact with someone, you're taking a risk when it comes to your energy, and you're basically at their mercy. Now, when I mention hugs and kisses or any kind of physical aspect, any type of physical contact is an automatic transfer of energy, believe it or not. Because we as humans, we tend to be rather emotional creatures. Regardless of the fact of you being a male or a female, you are an emotional creature, because this is what makes you human. You hug someone that you haven't seen in an awful long time, you take on their energy. They're happy to see you, and you hug them, you become happy. If the hug is not genuine and you can't trust this person, you feel that as well. And you'll release immediately because something just doesn't feel right. The same is true with a kiss. The mental aspect of intimacy is the conversation, as I said, or anything pertaining to a mental connection. You can have a deep conversation about a topic that you are very passionate about. It doesn't even have to relate to your personal life. And you have an argument over that. Or you could feel as if you're in a better place than you were before due to that particular conversation. That's the mental aspect of it. Through commonality is through similar experiences. So if you happen to be a victim of a crime, or you had a life-changing experience and you come across someone who had a similar experience, you begin to feel very empathetic towards that person. Now, empathy is common. Empathy has nothing to do with energy. However, if you tend to hold any emotions that that person explained that they had, and you hold that over a long period of time, and you feel the same way that they would have felt, that's energy. If you have experienced a similar experience, that's also energy, because someone sharing their experience with you and you experiencing the same experience, you can truly feel the depth of their pain or the depth of their joy. It goes either way. Now, how is energy contained? Energy is contained through isolation, solitude, or by distancing yourself from a particular person. Now, in order to do this, you have to be very skilled and you have to be very strategic, because you can also transfer your energy from yourself to another. And what I mean by that, for example, the conversation. You're having a conversation with someone, they're unloading their burden on you. By you being that listening ear, the energy that you transfer to them is that you will always be that listening ear. That will turn into a codependent relationship because that person will always sort you out in order to unleash whatever burdens they may have. So to completely distance yourself from that person, you would have to reject that person's phone calls or block that person's number. You would have to avoid seeing that person. You would have to basically eliminate that whole tie. And when you do see that person at a later date, the connection won't be as strong. The connection will still be there because energy does not disappear. It is usually transferred from one person to another, but it doesn't disappear. So by the time you see that person that you have distanced yourself from, that person would have already transferred that energy to another person, and that person would be carrying that person's burden or would probably be distancing themselves from them as well. And they'll move on to the next person, which also brings me to the spiritual vampires. These people are negative people, and you are not to have any type of contact, whether physical or mental, with these people because they often transfer negativity through their emotions and through communication. Some of them are manipulative, some of them are envious, and some are jealous. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this topic because spiritual vampires is just a topic of its own. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and I will see you in 2 weeks. And I hope that you enjoyed this recording. I apologize for the delay. However, I've been working on a number of projects behind the scenes. As I said, I'm still working on bringing you guys the Fashion Corner. You guys are going to love it. You guys are really going to love it. I'm putting a lot of time into it. Everything is handmade, and you guys are really going to love it. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Until then, be blessed.
Look, I got enemies, got a lot of enemies, got a lot of people trying to drain me of my energy.